Item 7 is consider reimbursement of ordinance 3 fees to Bunkerville customers who paid $500 secondary system and property original grant installed secondary systems, lots, and culinary hookup. Ooh, we got two. Okay, go ahead.
We've got 15 properties that are people that paid the $500 on the ordinance 3 back when the secondary system came into place. Of those 15, only 4 of them currently still reside in those in their residences, and the other 11 have moved elsewhere or something else. And so what we're looking for as staff is number one, do we reimburse? Does the board want to reimburse folks for the ordinance 3 at $500 a piece? And if so,
how many did you say were still in there?
4. There's 4 of them. And then if so, definitely we'll pay the 4. How does the board want to handle the 11 that we right now don't know where they're at?
Excuse me, but I thought ordinance 2 or ordinance fees were non-refundable. Is that not
Or
correct?
ordinance 3 are.
Or ordinance 3
Ordinance
is
3 or ordinance 2 are.
Ordinance 3 doesn't have the same language that ordinance 2 does, as far as express making them non-refundable.
And it could be the board's decision to not refund any at all.
My opinion is that, I personally, I think the 4 we should refund. And when you talk refund, we're just gonna come and check, we're gonna see if they wanna take credit on their phone bill, or on their water bill, or, I think, personally, that's how I would approach it, is the 4. The 11, I think they're long gone, and, no, we may have some come out of the woodwork, but definitely the 4, I think we should reimburse.
Have recommendations, Kevin?
And we do have a historical precedence where we have reimbursed Mr. Draskovich on ordinance 3 already back in 2005. So I follow along in Rich's recommendation that we reimburse or refund the ordinance 3 to the 4 that we do know where they're at. And
What was the ordinance 3 for?
For the
secondary.
For what do we use that money for?
To put the system.
Yeah.
To install it? Which we did.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody's gonna have to explain ordinance 2 and 3 fees to me then. I mean, I thought the reason for them is we are paid this money to do something which we did, and now we don't have that money to give back. I mean, the ratepayer's gonna have to pay it, right?
That was more or less their impact fee to use the secondary. They had to actually
They paid.
That's
put
right.
their
That's right.
connection in.
They paid for, they paid for their own connection.
So this is a reimbursement for that.
That connection.
Because we're taking the system away.
Yeah.
I mean.
Everyone else got it free with the grant when it went through, if they had a hookup there.
Oh, okay.
So these people did not have an actual
That makes
hookup,
sense.
so they paid $500 to hook into the secondary, and they paid to hook it into. We just charged them $500, more or less like an impact fee, to use the secondary system.
And because of the decision by the board to basically do away with the Bunkerville secondary system, now those people that paid the $500 had paid $500 for something that we're taking away, and that's the point.
But they agreed to discontinue the secondary water system.
Well, they agreed that that was the
Recommendation.
recommendation, and Eric, legally, are we,
Well, I mean, I think there's any number of ways to look at this. Again, this is a policy decision that ultimately falls to the board. But it's certainly possible to look at it as far as they paid a fee for a service that was provided for a period of time. That service has now been discontinued. They got their money's worth, so to speak. You know, it's one possible way to look at it.
I should have asked this question way before we got into this. Is anybody I'm related to one of those 4?
I don't know.
No, I think you might be one of the 11, your dad might be one of the 11.
Well,
That
it's
bought
not
the
wrong
property.
for him to get his money back.
And I do have a question as far as ordinance 3 fees rather, and how they've been treated. I mean, our discussion a moment ago talked about ordinance 2 fees and how they tracked with the property, kind of stayed with the property once they're paid ownership. I mean, has that been done with ordinance 3 too? Because my question there is related, is it necessary to make a distinction between the 11 versus the 4, or if you're going to make a refund, would it be appropriate to just give a $500 refund to whoever is using it currently? Because even though they didn't pay a $500 fee, they're still losing use of the service.
Yeah, but they didn't, but the flip side is they didn't pay for that service.
That's true. They didn't, but maybe they paid a premium when they bought their lot or something for the fact the service was available. I mean, it could have been taken into consideration other ways. I'm just saying that if it tracks with ownership of the property as far as consistency,
Cost them more before, didn't
yeah, and so I don't know, because when these properties changed ownership, I don't think there was new connection fees charged or anything as far as
No.
you're a new owner, here's a new
No.
connection fee.
Once they were connected, they were
And so-
connected. Can you differentiate between the 4 and the 11 for us?
Right now?
Yeah, what's the
I can't.
difference? I mean, the 4
The
is still
four
in the
that
original.
actually paid the
Are
$500
still-
Yeah, they still live there.
in that
They-
residence.
Yeah, they're still
yes.
net residents, yes. And the other 11 have sold their properties or
And my
moved on.
father's not one of those, right?
No.
Well, not one of the 4.
Correct.
Did you have a comment?
It's fine, you guys are covering it.
we? We're trying to, anyway.
And so like I say, there's a number of ways to see this, and one of this possible way is, you got your money's worth, so to speak. We put it in, we gave you what you paid for the $500, you had the connection, had the use of it for a number of years. We're not gonna refund that under those circumstances. That's one possible way. There's also the way you've talked about it as far as treating the ones who paid it or still on the property, and differentiating between those and those who have paid it and are no longer there. But like I say, but there is also the view I brought up as far as saying if ordinance 3 fees are there and they're with the property, then technically it's, if you're gonna make a refund, there's a possibility of considering you make it to anyone who's on the property and is losing current
One
use
of
of
the
the.
4?
His garden.
I'm sorry. I'm
Okay,
gonna,
we lost Mr.
I'm gonna
Ball.
recuse myself, I apologize.
You can still participate in the discussion. You just
Yeah.
can't vote on
He's
it.
gonna recuse himself, yes.
Okay, do you have any comments, Mr. Hageman?
Well, I listened to Eric and I think he confused me more than he helped me, so. I see the consistency with it, like with ordinance 2, it runs with the ground. I think it's an all or nothing. I mean, we either give it to all 15, or we don't give it to any of the 15. That seems to be consistent with all the ordinance 2, with the transfers, those kind of things, so, that's kind of where I'm at. It's either all or all 15, or, because they did buy the property, probably with the understanding they had that service, so, unless staff has some other ideas or something from the public that wants to help us out, but that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Wouldn't it be possible to make it part of the, if you did okay reimbursement, that those 11 would have to actually come and apply for the reimbursement in order to get it?
Except we don't know who they are, I guess we do.
We know who the 15 are.
Yeah,
We don't wanna be doing detective work here, do we?
Well, they know the addresses, it was the original piece of
Yeah, well,
ground,
we don't
the
know where
registered
they're at
address where.
now.
Yeah.
They could
We know
have
where
lost
the
their
They may have passed away, yeah, we don't know.
passed away, foreclosures, moved out, we don't know where they're at now.
But what Craig's talking about is payment to the person that's in the property.
Right.
It's
That
still,
we do
it
know.
runs with the property, and that's what,
That we do know.
Yeah.
I don't know, because that's, we're taking it away from them property.
But that would be, I'm sorry, but to me, if we take away a service from anything, then we're gonna give them back their money? What if we can't? I mean, you paid for a service, you got the service is no longer available, but that's like any other service that you've bought anywhere else, or you bought it, you got it, it's not available anymore.
Well, and if I can interject one thing, and I wasn't privy to some of the discussions between staff and the committee that was formed by the town advisory board, but was this refund of the $500, was that part of the bargain, so to speak, that was part of the
No.
discussion with staff as far as
No.
taking the service away?
No.
Okay.
Mr. Ball, what?
Yeah, I think Sandra's got it. I mean, they had 15 years of service for $500. So you're gonna get everything back for I think you have to look at it that way. I don't think you do that.
That's why it's either all 15 or it's none of them.
Well, I don't think anything should get back. They got 15 years of service. Nothing's in perpetuity.
Bob Drastovich, I have property in Bunkerville. That $500 was intended, my understanding when I went to the meeting was to purchase secondary water, not for the service. In other words, you buy a secondary, you buy a unit of irrigation share, and that water is every year you keep coming and you purchase it. The service was $8 or $15 a month, that paid for the service. So in other words, that money was used to purchase some water, which I guess you still own. But you're no longer going to use it for these people. Is that correct?
Is that right, Mr. Hayden?
I'm just trying to clarify what
Well,
that $500 for.
I think the simple answer is what's been said. The service is gonna go away.
Yeah.
You know, they receive service for the number of years it's been in existence, and it's come time to realize that it doesn't work, and it's in the best interest of the district to dissolve this and move on. I mean, it's what it is.
Gary?
Well, and I think ordinance 3 is the policy that was adopted to kind of implement this Bunkerville secondary system. And that policy actually implemented a connection charge. And the connection charge for a single residential lot of a half acre or less was $500, and it graduated up from there. And so I think what's being considered here is a refund of that connection charge, not a fee that was charged for obtaining water rights, but a connection charge.
Well, I don't think it was a connection charge, it was to purchase water.
Well, I'm reading directly from the policy that implemented.
Well, the policy said a lot of things. The other day, someone said I wasn't, you know, that that was not what they said in the meeting, and that's not what they did. It maybe how they, it's amazing how when people are told things and how the policy is actually enacted, and then when you look at it as it's written, it's amazing, the difference of it. Because the connection charge, the people that had original service in Bunkerville got it free. Other people had to pay that $500 plus pay to have it hooked up. You didn't pay to have, this water district did not pay to hook it up. The line came across, people had to pay to hook into it. So to say that that was supposed to be a fee for a hookup, I mean, you know, maybe.
Well, I think a fee to connect to the system.
Okay.
Not a hookup or installation.
All right,
It's a
all right,
fee, it's a fee.
all right, okay. That's however you want to do it.
Fee's a fee. They paid it, they got use for 15 years, it's
Right.
over with, it's
No.
done. Hey,
That's-
sorry
that's
about that.
sorry, Yep, you're right. Okay, do any motions here?
I'll make a motion that we do not reimburse ordinance 3 fees to Bunkerville customers who paid for the secondary water system rights because they've had that use.
Second.
I have a motion second, all those in favor? 3 in favor, 2 absent. That motion does not carry.